Hello, the Pioneer viewers. How are you doing? I hope you're all healthy and well. As the Pioneer team, we continue to bring you the developments regarding the Russia-Ukraine war. If you have paid attention for a while, we have not shared with you any reports from regions such as Mariupol and Berdyansk, which are cities on the coast of the Azov Sea. Attacks and clashes were generally concentrated on the front line. However, recent reports show that the Ukrainian army has changed its missile attack strategy. The city of Mariupol was once again hit by the missiles launched by the Ukrainian army. We see that the missile attacks has created an intense panic effect in the region. The region has been quiet for a long time. Therefore, there was a comfort in the region, especially Russian occupation administration and the occupation soldiers in the region. However, this comfort has disappeared. According to local sources, the explosions in the region created an atmosphere of the panic and fear. So, what are the details of the Ukrainian army's missile attacks? Let's analyze the developments together. As the Pioneer team, we continue to bring the Russia-Ukraine war to your screens. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so as not to miss our daily map reports and reports on the agenda. I also read all the comments you make to our videos. Please continue to express your opinion about our content. I'm very pleased to read your comments. Let's start if you are ready. The Pioneer Report. As we mentioned earlier, we have not been reporting on the Mariupol for some time because there has been relative silence in the region. However, this silence was broken by the missiles launched by the Ukrainian army. The sound and the lights of the Ukrainian missiles illuminated the night silence and darkness that prevailed the city of Mariupol. According to reports, the missile of the Ukrainian armed forces targeted a concrete production facility in Mariupol. The missile hit the plant, causing a huge explosions followed by a severe fire. The fire brigades of the occupation administration tried to control the fire for a long time. However, it was not possible to control the fire due to the wind. During the explosions and fire, the entire plant was almost destroyed. Allegedly, not only the concrete plant was hit by the missiles launched by the Ukrainian armed forces, the missiles launched by the Ukrainian army also targeted the positions of the Russian armed forces in the harbor. There are many reports that many fire brigades and ambulances were dispatched to this area. However, no official statements have been made so far. According to the claims of local sources, there are many casualties in the region. Allegedly, these attacks were not limited to Mariupol. It is not yet known exactly how it happened. However, major explosions also occurred on the railway lines around the city of Melitopol. According to the local sources, these explosions were caused by the attacks carried out by the Ukrainian sabotage groups. Ivan Fedorov, the mayor of the Melitopol, said the following about the explosions. Journalists are reporting about the problems with the train carrying ammunition from the Crimea to Melitopol and Dnipro. Unfortunately, this news is true. There is a disruption in train services due to some explosions on the railway line. The areas where the explosion took place are now controlled by the Russian security forces and the army. Our investigations are ongoing. We will definitely find the sources of the explosions. As it seems, the Ukrainian army has increased its effectiveness again in the region occupied by the Russian army. Many times before, missiles launched by the Ukrainian army had targeted Russian positions, production facilities, ammunition depots, and production facilities of critical importance for the Russian army in these regions. In addition, the Ukrainian army and the Ukrainian sabotage groups targeted the supply lines of the Russian army and dealt heavy blow to the Russian army. When we look at the latest situation of the front line, we can say that the Ukrainian army will greatly increase these attacks. We can't even say that the Ukrainian armed forces are late to make this move, because the Ukrainian forces need to carry out these attacks and paralyze the Russian army. If they can't do this, they can break the pressure of the Russian army. In this way, the Ukrainian army can move from the defense positions to the attacks position again. The Ukrainian armed forces are still quite resilient and continue to resist Russian attacks. Recently, Major Yevhen, one of the soldiers of the Ukrainian army serving in the Avdiivka, made a very interesting statements about his experiences in the region. Yevhen used the following statements in his statements. Maybe in the few first weeks, I thought that I would be annihilated by the Russians. I'm worried that they will take Avdiivka because, as the Ukrainian, I'm worried about every square meter of our country. That's why I'm here and will continue my struggle. Major Yevhen is not the only one to comment on the defense of Avdiivka. Ukrainian journalist and the writer Dmytro Lazutkin is also on the front line in the defense of his country. Let's hear from him about the thoughts of the Ukrainian soldiers on the front line. So far, no one is willing to back down, he said. Our brigades redeployed from the southern Zaporizhia region to the Donetsk in October is stopping the Russian offensive on the northern flanks of Avdiivka. The enemy's losses exceeded our losses several times. As long as our army is inflicting heavy losses on the enemy, the Russian troops cannot advance on Avdiivka. As long as we tire the Russians, our defense of the city is valuable. We will continue to hold the city. Of course, they may try to encircle Avdiivka. If they want to take the city, they'll have to do it anyway, but it will cost them dearly. The war is becoming more technological, and we need more modern radio-electronic means of the warfare, air defense systems, unmanned aerial vehicles, and high-precision weapons to defeat the enemy who has the manpower advantage. We are not short of manpower. My friends and I will continue to defend our country until the last moment. However, if we get stuck somewhere, it will be due to the lack of weapons. We are defending not only our country, but also the whole of Europe and the countries of the region from an aggressor. Support must continue. As can be seen, the morale of the Ukrainian armed forces is very good, and they continue to fight a very successful defensive war in Avdiivka despite all the Russian attacks. As Berdyansk stated, the Ukrainian army needs more support to continue its resistance. In the first days of its invasion of Ukraine, the Russian army claimed that the war would end in few weeks. However, the Ukrainian armed forces managed to refute these claims of the Russian side. Now the Russian army claims that it will not leave the occupied areas. So will the Ukrainian army be able to refute this claim as well? If the conditions are favorable, why not? So what do you think? Do you think the missile attacks of the Ukrainian army will continue? What do you think about the situation of the Russian army in the cities such as Mariupol and Melitopol? Do you think the Ukrainian army will be able to continue defending Avdiivka? Do you favor the continuation of support for the Ukraine? What do you think about the statements of the Ukrainian soldiers? Tell me in the comments. I read and care about all your comments.